Hi, everybody, welcome to our first live stream event. I'm here with Captain Benning, our squadron commander, and we're here to get an update on the status of Cap. How are you, sir?
Good, good. Hopefully everybody's doing well tonight. Welcome to our first online meeting. Things might be a little bumpy tonight. Forgive us. We're still trying to get this all figured out. Of course, about to figure it all out. We'll be back to doing regular meetings, I hope. One of the big questions I keep hearing is, when will that be? I don't know. I don't think anybody does. Um, my best guess would be it's going to be this way at least into sometime in May, most likely. It could be shorter than that, but I seriously doubt. Let's talk a little bit about what Civil Air Patrol is doing, and more specifically what Idaho Wing and Coeur d'Alene squadrons are doing. Um, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time talking about the whole COVID pandemic because everybody's been inundated with news, so we'll let you get that from other sources. We first got a mail from Wayne yesterday asking for all of our available resources, both personnel and equipment. So we're working on putting that together. I'm sure you all got the alert message yesterday asking for your availability. As far as what tasks specifically we'll have for cadets to do, I really can't answer that quite yet. First, I'll go over in general what we've been asked to do. First of all, the Kootenai County Emergency Operations Center here in our area has asked for assistance by having staff personnel in their Emergency Operations Center on a daily basis. That's something we're working on getting scheduled now. That is a senior member activity. Just by virtue of what the EOC does and what they need our representatives to be able to do. So unfortunately, we won't be able to incorporate the cadets into that. Other missions that we're on standby for is the possibility of flying test kits from location to location, and if needed, flying key personnel around. Our most recent request, and this is just kind of unfolding in the last half hour or so, we have a request to fly some samples from Coeur d'Alene to a lab in Seattle on Sunday. The reason they're scheduling us that far out is they typically fly these over apparently every day. Problem is they ship them extra UPS, and of course need one of those services deliver on Sundays. So in order to expedite testing, if they have any kits that need to go on Sunday, they're asking them to provide an aircraft and an air crew to make that happen. Mm-hmm. So we're that up and running. So right now, those are the two primary tasks we've been given. Some of the intel I've been getting from other wings and regions around the country is that most of them are doing those same types of duties. They've also been asked in a lot of areas to help with handing out school lunches and such. I know Wyoming Wing and I believe Utah Wing also, both in our region, have been doing that for about a week or so now. We haven't received any requests to do that yet, but if we do, we'll certainly act on that. That's something that we could very definitely get cadets involved with. So basically now to just summarize the emergency response business, our folks here, we're just on standby for the EOC staffing and also for the flying mission this Sunday. Gotcha. Major Warren, anything you think I need to cover?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Everything on my notes anyway. But yeah, I look forward to getting back to a meeting with actual faces. Actually, I'm not tired of looking at my wife. I think my wife is tired of looking at me. So
I've kind of run into a problem in that I always told my wife there's all kinds of projects I do around the house when I had time. Guess what? That time has arrived.
Yeah. I told her I can't go buy parts, so
Well, one thing to emphasize with the cadets before I end this and let you get on to the other members of the staff that have things to cover is while we've got this downtime, we're not meeting every week. Make sure you stay up on your studies, both your school studies and on your CAP studies. Right. I've had, I don't know if anybody knows, but every time a cadet takes an online test, I get an email tells me whether or not you passed it or failed it. I haven't been getting a whole of those. Good. Yeah. So let's get in there and start studying and taking some of those tests. As you probably know by now, National Headquarters has given us a waiver on PT testing and drill testing, right, so that we can do to promote people during the duration of this weird thing we're in here now.
Mhm.
So don't stop taking the tests. If you have any questions about how to do some of that, go up your chain of command and get the help you need. Anything else, Major?
Nope, that's all I can think of. I think everything else is peachy.
Right. Just in closing, the weekly email came out a couple hours ago. We tried to get it out yesterday, but things got busy and we didn't make it. We're still counting on that as our major communications tool for the next month or two. So every week there'll be an update coming up what's going on, and then of course we'll send out any messages in between if something more pressing. That's all I have.
All right.
With that, I ask you, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you back to Hangar as soon as we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll add one thing, and I will say this: a lot of people are not taking this thing serious, and they're not staying in, and they're not doing what they're supposed to. So everybody, in order to stay healthy, stay put. All right.
Exactly.
All right.
They're emphasizing that you don't have to stay inside. You don't have to be locked up in the room, but stay away from people. If you're going to go outside by yourself.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
It's around 10 p.m. on October 10th, 2017. Janice Esposito is 43 years old. She's driving down the street near her home in Long Island, New York. She approaches an intersection and begins to make a left turn. Another vehicle crashes into her. Around the corner, a 64-year-old retired teacher, Pete DePinto Sr., is getting ready for bed when he hears the sound of this crash. Collisions are common at this intersection, and so, almost as a routine, Pete jumps into action. When he arrives at the scene, he finds that one of the drivers is already outside of her car. But then, he sees Janice. Now, there are no serious injuries, and certainly this crash is not fatal. But Janice is in shock. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't realize where her vehicle has come to rest. Her van is sitting directly over the railroad tracks of an active commuter train system. Janice got lucky and survived that first collision, but if she doesn't get off those tracks, she won't survive the second one. Arriving on the scene, Pete already knows what will happen if someone doesn't act quickly. He tries to open the door on the driver's side, but it's jammed shut from the accident. As he makes his way to the passenger side, that's when he hears the bells. The lights are flashing, the gates are lowering, the train is on its way. Pete throws open the passenger door and grabs Janice by the arms. 6 seconds later, the vehicle is gone. But Janice and Pete are not. Pete DePinto Sr. was awarded the Carnegie Medal for his heroic acts. These medals are awarded to civilians who voluntarily risk their life, knowingly, to an extraordinary degree while saving or attempting to save the life of another person. Pete DePinto Sr. was 6 seconds away from making the ultimate sacrifice for a complete stranger. He stared death down the tracks and valued Janice Esposito's life over his own. As children, and even as adults, we may fantasize about moments like this. The moment where life calls upon you to be a hero, and for you to rise to that occasion. You think you would do the right thing at the exact right time, and maybe, just maybe, save the day. But in reality, the odds are, for the average person, this moment, it will never come. So if your plan is to wait around for your chance to be a hero, then get comfortable. And while you're comfortable, turn on the news for 5 minutes. And for 5 minutes, you'll see stories of pain and suffering. Stories of waste and pollution. Stories of poverty and hunger. The world is in great need, and so you are needed. Did you know that 75.1% of all Americans do not volunteer even a single hour in an entire year? According to the Urban Institute, the value of every volunteer hour is $22.13. That means that if everyone in the United States who doesn't currently volunteer put in just 1 single hour of volunteerism, it would generate an additional $4.3 billion of humanitarian impact in the United States alone. But those are just numbers. And maybe their size and scope are truly hard to internalize. So to really understand the impact of volunteerism, please remember where it happens. In the cancer ward of a children's hospital. The polluted watersheds affecting communities downstream. Shelter and warmth for a veteran who just wants a safe place to sleep. The world could use your help, but if you're going to help, you need to realize that volunteerism, it means sacrifice. Many of these moments of despair are far from the comforts of your home, and so it's easier to sleep in, it's easier to binge watch TV, it's just plain easier not to volunteer. But whether you can see it or not, the world needs you the same. It is an unfortunate reality that the betterment of humanity requires sacrifice. Voluntarily giving away what we cherish, even for a greater cause, is difficult. I accept that life is not easy. Decisions must be made, and so sacrifices as well. So how do you drive yourself and others to do this important work? What are some tips that can make volunteering easier? Here are 3 to get you started. Number 1, be realistic with your expectations of a volunteer experience. Volunteering isn't a theme park. It's not a night at the carnival. Volunteering won't be easy or without challenges. Even small things like you may not know where to park, it's probably going to be disorganized, might even smell funny. But putting another person's interests before your own, it's not always convenient. So if you set your expectations a little lower, maybe you'll feel a little less frustrated during those hiccups, and maybe the day will go a little smoother. Number 2, use cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing is a way of viewing or experiencing events or emotions to find a more positive alternative. For example, instead of saying I have to volunteer, say I get to volunteer. I don't have to interact with a bunch of strangers. I get to meet new people and understand my community. I don't have to give up my Saturday. I get to live my beliefs because I'm tired of apathy and I don't want to be part of it. I don't have to do anything. I get to. Number 3, ask people to join you. Volunteer work can have its boring moments, but doing stuff together, that can create memorable shared experiences. It also increases your own accountability and amplifies the impact of your volunteer work. The more people you bring along, the more good you can do as a group. You most likely will not come across a single moment in your life where you can save a person from certain death. Many of us never will. But over the course of your life, your impact can add up. Saving a life doesn't have to happen all at once. Volunteering 1 hour, 1 meal, 1 smile at a time. One of those things can be the turning point for another person in need. And even when the turning point happens for someone that you helped, it might not earn you a medal. In fact, you may not get any recognition at all. But sometimes, that's just part of being a hero.
Welcome, Tango Flight, to our first ever online meeting.
I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy.
We will be doing online meetings until further notice due to the coronavirus. Look out for emails about standard health procedures.
Also remember to look out for emails with links to our meetings now that they will be taking place online.
Since we are doing online meetings, ranking up will be a little bit different. We don't need to do PT, we don't need to do drill, and we don't need to do promotion boards. All we need to do is your online leadership and your online aerospace if you need to do that. You would need to do your aerospace if you are going for your second achievement. And now we'll talk about goals.
So a big part of the CAP program is progressing in your CAP training and ranking up. We want to see you guys ranking up a lot more. So we have decided to have you all set short-term goals for yourself regarding ranking up to your next rank, as opposed to setting up long-term goals to, let's say, chief or lieutenant. So when I say this, I mean it can be something like learning your cadet oath for your promotion boards, or even though that's something very important for the whole program, it can be reading a chapter in your aerospace or leadership book. It can be studying for 30 minutes, and then it can also be practicing drill for your promotion. Now, we will not be doing promotion boards, but it is important to...
If you don't know where to get your drill, it's on this little website. It's your Learn to Lead Drill and Ceremony test. You can get it from here. This is the easiest place to find it, and you just go for your achievement. So if you're going for Achievement 1, study the Achievement 1 stuff. If you're going for Achievement
Yes,
2,
exactly.
study Achievement 2 stuff.
So even though we will not be doing promotion boards or drill tests right now, it is still very important that you keep yourself sharp on those things. Learning your cadet oath is just generally important overall, and then practicing drill is also important because we don't want you guys being rusty or messing up drill movements when we get back to cap and can actually do drill time as a flight. It's also important to practice these movements because you want to know them off the top of your head as you progress in the program and as you rank up. So just keep practicing drill and look at the Learn to Lead book on the screen, and you should be able to find your the movements that you need to practice. So moving on, we will be talking about PT. Now, I know we will not be doing PT right now because of the current conditions, but it's still very important to stay up on PT and exercise regularly. It helps you to stay healthy, and it also strengthens your immune system, and as you may know, that is something that is very handy right now.
Yeah,
um,
extremely.
uh, and a way to do this, you could try and pass the test for what your next achievement would be, so the normal PT test for your age and rank. And once you have more stamina or feel yourself capable, attempt to push yourself further, as this is how you may improve. And so, even if you finish the goal of passing the test, you should still try and push yourself further because, like I said, it's how you improve. And you never know your limits until you try hard enough.
A good reason to be practicing your drill is so we can do jodies. Jodies are when you are marching to a, I don't know if you'd call it like a song of some type, but we'll give you examples in a little bit. But you
Marching
can work
cadence.
together as a team if you want over online to make a jodi, or you can work by yourself. But we are asking Tango Flight to make a jodi, so then once we start our regular meetings, we can march to them, which will be very fun. And I want you to bring a working copy to next week's meeting, so then we can do a little vote on which one we should do as our Tango Flight jodi. An example of a jodi is the Coke jodi. So it goes like this: C
In a bottle,
O
in a can.
K
Wish I had one
E
in my hand.
COKE, a Coke, an icy cold Coke. And another one is a C-130, which is a repeat after me, Jody.
C-130 rolling down the strip.
C-130 rolling down the strip.
64 troopers on a one-way trip.
64 troopers on a one-way trip.
Mission top secret destination unknown.
Mission top secret destination unknown.
They don't know if they're ever coming home.
They don't know if they're ever coming home.
C-130 on the taxiway.
C-130 on the taxiway.
Airborne gonna jump today.
Airborne gonna jump today.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Jump right out and count to 4.
Jump right out and count to 4.
And if that main don't open wide,
And if that main don't open wide,
I've got a reserve by my side.
I've got a reserve by my side.
If that one should fail me too,
If that one should fail me too,
look out below 'cause I'm coming through.
look out below 'cause I'm coming through.
Tell my sergeant I did my best.
Tell my sergeant I did my best.
Pin my wings up on my chest.
Pin my wings up on my chest. So those are just some examples of jodies. When you bring your jodi for next week, please state if it's one like the Coke jodi where the flight sergeant will say the C, and then the whole flight will say in a bottle. Or if you're going to do a repeat after me, Jody. Another thing is, we want you to be creative with these. Don't just go off of what we just gave you. Use your imagination to come up with something that really fits Tango Fight. And now we will be working on some customs and courtesies.
Okay, so does anyone know how the salute originated? Well, the salute has its origin in another time when kings ruled, knights wore armor, and courtly manners flourished. It was the age of chivalry. The etiquette of the day dictated that should two friendly knights meet, each would raise the visor of their helmet, show his face, and pay proper respect to the other. Since both knights were completely clad in steel, they could recognize each other as friend or foe by the distinctive emblems on or devices on their armor. Another custom that still lives. Etiquette also decreed that the knights salute with their right hands. The right hand was a sword hand. Raising it was a sign of trust. Even after modern firearms had made steel armor a thing of the past, the knightly gesture of raising the right hand continued to be recognized as the proper greeting between soldiers. The salute is a sign of friendship and mutual respect.
Now, what are some other examples of customs and courtesies besides the salute? Well, other examples of customs and courtesies include calling officer sir or ma'am, coming to attention when an officer enters the room, and walking to the officer's left. Rich history have formed the great traditions of military customs and courtesies.
With the history of the salute as an introduction, what do you imagine is the basis for military customs and courtesy? Well, military customs and courtesies, like the salute, are based on simple politeness and respect. When knights of old saluted one another, and when cadets and officers exchange salutes today, the salute is not indicating that one person is inferior to another. Rather, when you exchange salutes with an officer, you show that you are polite and respectful of other people, especially those in positions of authority.
If customs and courtesies are based on respect, does that mean you don't have to salute someone you don't respect? It is important to note that there will be some people you are proud and eager to salute, but there may be times when you'll be angry with an officer, or maybe you will simply dislike them as a person. No matter the custom of the salute calls for you to salute them just the same. You salute a person's grade or position, not necessarily the person as an individual.
Cadets are expected to display good military bearing. Now, what does that mean? Your bearing is the overall way you conduct yourself, in and out of uniform. It means cadets are not supposed to fool around. They are to show respect for themselves, their leaders, and their uniform. During drill, and when formally reporting to an officer, they are to stand at attention properly. In short, you behave in such a way that people see you are serious about being a cadet and becoming a leader.
Based on your understanding of the background information, what do you think cadets practice military courtesies and such as the salute? They show our connection to the Air Force. It is a way to develop self-respect and respect for others. It shows we hold ourselves to a high standard of professional conduct. It shows that we aspire to the level of professionalism that our military displays. In conclusion, how well you render customs and courtesies reflects on yourself, your squadron, and on CAP and the Air Force. If you are polite and respectful, people will develop a good impression of you and CAP. You'll receive compliments and develop a sense of pride in yourself. If you do not address officers as sir and ma'am, if you goof around in uniform, if you look sloppy, people will not respect you and will be critical of you and all of CAP. People will think you are a slacker, and pretty soon, you'll start thinking you are too. So what that's saying there is, if you are goofing around, they don't know if you are Air Force or if you're CAP. So that's showing bad on the Air Force if you're messing around in uniform. And if you're wearing your uniform on properly, it's not just reflecting on you, it's reflecting on the whole of CAP. So not just you, not just your flight, not just your squadron, it's the whole of CAP. And some other things for customs and courtesies would be like calling the room to attention when an officer walks in the room, or saluting when you are going through a door, telling if it's an officer or senior member, telling them thank you sir, thank you ma'am.
And remember, you typically will only salute outside.
Yes. So you don't want to salute indoors unless you are reporting to an officer.
Exactly.
When you're walking through a hallway, you want to make sure that you stand at attention at the side when a senior member or a officer walks by, so you're out of their way.
It is also customs and courtesy to greet your officer as well as they walk by.
Yes, you don't want to just stand there and look like a creepy little statue. And that is all that we have for you today. We look forward to seeing you next meeting.
Remember to try and make up a Jody, and you can also work with a person that you can connect with over the internet. Remember to follow the guidelines that were given for that Jody, and we will vote on that next meeting, most likely. And remember to stay healthy, stay safe, and look out for any emails, especially for links to meetings and stuff, as we are still figuring everything out.
Yeah. Alright, see you guys next meeting.
Best of luck, cadets.
Good afternoon, cadets. This is Staff Sergeant Bowen, and we're gonna be doing flight time digitally because of the quarantine, kind of. And I'm going to do guys how to shine your boots as well as do PT standards and PT positions. So, well, let's dive into this. All right, so what you should have is some black shoe shine. It's pretty cheap, a few bucks at Walmart maybe. Lemon Pledge, if you can get some. It's not recommended. It's kind of recommended, but not really. A horsehair brush to brush dirt off. Something to apply the pledge or the shoe shine with, as well as a rag to put in and just kind of dry it onto there. And you're gonna need one of your boots. And mine's pretty dirty. I haven't worn them in a while, and they've been kind of sitting in my room because of cap. So let's start by getting our boot ready. So just kind of set it up right about there. Get your horsehair brush and just brush all that dirt off. Because you want that dirt to get into your polish. Because it won't look very good. So it looks a little better. Alright, now we want to get our shirt or whatever you have. Maybe some people have a brush. And rub it into your polish and get a good amount on there. Alright. So yeah, I got a nice kind of fingerful. And then we're going to apply it to our boots. And just kind of go in circular motions on the leather. Especially in parts that are a little more dirty than others. And this will help by just doing your boots right now so you don't have to worry about it and get stressed about it later when CAB meetings do start up again. Or a mission or whatever. Alright, so you got that on there. You put that back. Come over and grab your rag or a t-shirt or brush, whatever, to rub it in. And for this, I'm going to put my boot on. Makes it a little easier. Alright, so we got my boot on. Like that. Try and focus it. Alright, it's not gonna focus. Alright, come down here. And then you're just gonna have to kind of rub it in. Kind of go in circles. And take a good amount of time on this. Just to clean it up, make it look good. Get in the little creases and everything. So when you got that all shined up, looks pretty good. And some cadets will do the back of their boots. I don't do that as much as the front, but it's good to do it. And just to clean them off as well, so you can grab your horsehair brush and just go over the whole boot with it. Goes the back side here. Also the laces. You really want to get into your laces. And you can even take the horsehair brush after that shine dries a little bit, like after like a minute, and then just go over it. So I'll kind of rub it in. Like that, and that boot looks pretty dang good. And it's good to have all these essential tools, and it makes it just easier to shine your boots. And always keep your boots shined. It's a major thing that shows a lot of respect towards the uniform in terms of you're needy and clean, which you want in a military environment. So always keep your boots nice and shiny. And there's many ways to shine your boots. You can use a lighter, a lemon pledge, which works okay. I sometimes use it. And then on this left boot, I'll show you guys how to do a lemon pledge shine. So take your boot. This one's kind of clean, a little dirty though. And same thing, brush it off with horsehair. And then we want to take some lemon pledge. Kind of get your boot good. Give it a good shake. And just spray it on there. And it can cost about $3, I think. They're not too expensive. It smells good, so it's worth it. And same thing with this. Just rub it on there. Try and kind of get your hand in there. It's a little wetter, so you have to. And it works the same as the black shine. You have to rub it in. That boot looks pretty dang good too. And lemon pledge is more or less where you get it just cleaning. It really gets all the dirt and grime out. So, and it's good just to kind of keep your boots clean, always. It's easy to get 341 for not keeping your boots clean. And one thing when you're storing your boots, I've learned this over the years of just using boots and stuff or whatever, hiking. Take your laces, pull them out, and you can tighten your boots up so they stay in. They stay like tight and they stay nice and needy. And put your laces inside like that. And keep your sides velcroed and or zipped up a little bit. And now your boots just tidy and there's not laces hanging around in your room. And they can't get torn up easier. Do the same thing with your other boot. So I'm gonna pull that zipper up and put the Velcro on. There. And put the Velcro on. Pull your laces. Tuck them in. And there you go. And that's a good way to shine your boots. Alright, so now we're going to try to transform over to PT. So let's pick up all of our shoe shining equipment, as well as the pull-up bar. Alright, so make sure when you're doing PT that you have a good, clean space to do it in. And I'm going to use my floor here. I have a space. So, some proper ways to do it are very important because you don't want to pull muscles and or not get anything out of it. So it's always good to do PT, especially over these quarantines, because you want to stay healthy and in shape. And you don't want to get, sick, and keeping your immune system up also helps. So that should work a little bit like that. So your proper push-up position should be so get your knees and keep your arms about elbow length apart. And on your toes, keep your back and your butt level, as well as when you go down, keep your arms against your side. You don't want to chicken wing like that. You want to keep them the inside, like that, and that's a healthy push-up right there. Just keeping it straight down. Like that. And then for sit-ups, you want to keep your feet level like that and together, and keep your legs at about 90 degrees. And go all the way back, and keep your hands level with your body when you go up to your heels. 1, that. And keep your feet on the ground. And it's good to kind of do breathing at whatever helps you. So, all right. And then when it comes to running, you really want to do, if you can't find a mile near you, or you can't count a mile, then just run 10 minutes. Just jog in place or whatever. If not, run a mile, jog a mile. It's good to keep healthy and stay healthy, guys. Also, during running, try and breathe a little better and just control your breathing. Don't breathe rapidly or unorderly kind of in a way. So just keep breathing in a consistent way, or you're going to get cramps and it's just going to not be that great of a run. So, and other things about just stress, just try and keep the stress down. It's not always the best thing. And to always resort to your leadership books if you need to learn something. I'm sure most of you guys will have volume 2, but volume 1's got a lot of useful stuff in it, as well as volume 2. And on page 43 is the healthy stress management, as well as resilience of stress, as well, and coping styles. And it's good to just stay out of stress because it can do a lot to you and affect you. And some good ways to deal with it are exercise, just like PT. So do PT weekly probably, and try and push yourself when you're doing the PT exercises. Don't do what's easy. Try and do what's hard, so you get something out of it. And when you start feeling it in your muscles, that's when you know that you're doing it right. And it will help with all these stressful times, as well as getting out of the house, getting some fresh air when you're doing those runs. And stress isn't great when you're trying to learn or even doing online school right now. And it says, and there's a few pages on this. It goes up to page 46. And Chief Jackson will be talking about that. So, and also stay healthy, guys. Wash your hands. Don't be licking doorknobs or going in big crowds of people. Like they say, stay away from crowds of more than like 50 people, is it, or something? Because it gets pretty infectious sometimes. And yeah. So I guess we can go touch a little more on boots. So with your boots, though, one thing with the laces is you will get a lot of gunk and debris under your laces, like dirt, hairs, whatever, anything you can think of, paper. You'll get tucked under here and under the sides. So you can even use your horsehair brush and just get in there and clean, and just try and keep them in there. And I suggest every now and then take your laces off and wash them, or clean the inside of your boots. And I'm gonna sit you guys down for just a second. Alright, and some more safety essentials is sunscreen. Spring is coming up in summer, and it's going to get sunny out, so if you're doing those runs, exercises outside, whatever, going swimming, always use sunscreen. Just keep your skin nice. And I bought this for a few bucks at Walmart. Gold Bond foot powder. This basically saved my life at encampment. It's really useful stuff. It's kind of like baby powder in a way, but for feet. You just pour it in your boots, you can, or you can even pour it on in your feet and rub it into your feet basically. And it'll keep the smell down your feet and just absorb moisture. So it's really useful if you're going to encampment, and even this summer when it's getting hotter out. And with that, also get moleskin. This stuff. It's a few bucks too. It's pretty cheap. You peel off the sticker on the back and you can cut out little squares and you put it on moles on your feet. And it helps kind of reduce the pain as well as keep moles down. And because I use this Gold Bond stuff, at my first encampment I got no blisters, not one. And it was more pleasant. And as always guys, stay safe and see you guys at CAP when it restarts again. And that's it for this video, and goodbye.
Welcome, cadets and senior members. This is Lieutenant Nichols. I hope all of you are safe and taking care of your parents. This is a very stressful time and your parents need taken care of, so be nice to them, please. Hope you're enjoying time off school. I know for some of you this is fun, for some of you you're stressing about it. So don't stress, it'll all work out. Recently we sent out an alert and some of you guys got back to me and some of you had questions on it. I talked with Mr. McLean and he sent me this and said some of the stuff that we could do for this alert would be to transport the COVID-19 test kits to needed areas. Like if we had extra here and they needed some somewhere else, we'd throw it in the airplane and go. That wouldn't really involve the cadets, but it would involve senior members. We could work within the county and the state EOC to help relieve people that have been working full-time there, kind of doing some of the stuff we do in one of our normal missions. We could be delivering people or equipment for government agencies. There's been a few waivers so we can run our vans and stuff. When we're doing that, we'd probably have people running comms and running communications between vehicles if we go. We could also be delivering food or medications or groceries to those in need that can't get out of their houses. So they're trying to find a role for us, and we're trying to find a role for us. And if you guys want to get out of the house and not have to sit around all day staring out the window and playing video games, there's a possibility that we could get used. That involves paperwork. It always takes time, so it's not like we're going to call you tomorrow. And if any of you are over 18 and are interested in deploying for up to 30 days into another part of the country, all expenses paid. They will get us there and set us up and have us helping doing basically the same thing that I just said, just in different parts where they've been working and need breaks or they just need to fill spots. That said, you also still have time to get your 116 done, your 117, A, B, and C. To work in an EOC, you need to have the 100, 200, 700, 800, all the ICs. I know they're boring, but what else you got to do? Play video games, right? So get that stuff done, and then you got a chance to be helpful for your community in a time of need, like our oath says. Kind of for announcements, next week we're going to work on, it's the 5th Tuesday of the month, and since we can't get together and have fun, we're going to work on several different options for doing a meeting. So we're going to get together and try several different things, probably 4 or 5 different venues. So we'll try one and then tell you to go to option 2, and we'll log into option 2 and try it, see how that works. That doesn't work well, we'll go to 3. If we find one we like, then we'll just hang out and have fun together for a little while. For promotions. Promotions, we are waiving the PT, and we're also waiving the drill for promotions right now. So any of you guys that I've already promoted quite a few, and I'll go through the list here in just a minute. There's a few more that I'm working on because I got to run a PT for everybody, and some of them aren't accepting the PT. So I will get a few more promoted here later tonight. But for promotions this month so far, I have Mr. Placero, Heidi Phillips, Lucian Piper, Chelsea Vinning, Garrett Wing. Gray Swing, and there was one other that I'm trying to get their PT and then get it to accept it so that they can promote also. Still not too late. You guys want to jump on and get your testing done, I can start promoting people. I mean, all you have to do is aerospace and your leaderships, and the rest is kind of waived. We will be hitting drill really hard when we get back to kind of cover for what we will be missing, but hey, this is a chance to get a few promotions under your belt while you don't have to do drill and PT. I think that is all I've got so far. So as always, anybody wants to contact me, they can email me. Or your parents won't have questions, they can email me. And if anyone else is interested in being on the list for local or deployed, let me know. And I will pass that on. We have to actually send something off in the morning, so tonight would be a great time to send it to me. You don't have to have your 116-17 done, but it would be really helpful. Sooner the better. So anyways, that's what I got. Thank you for joining this broadcast, and we are going to continue to make this work better.